If you're looking for some alternatives to the deadlift, maybe you're looking to stray away from the straight bar conventional deadlift and you're looking to substitute different types of exercises for the deadlift, or you're looking to find out what is best for you, well, stick around because this episode is going to show you everything you need to know from the easiest to the hardest types of deadlift alternatives. Hey, I'm Dr. Josh. Today's episode is going to be all about alternatives and deadlifts and things that you can do to substitute for your deadlift. We know that the traditional or straight bar deadlift is not good for everybody. So in this episode, I'm going to show you how you can reap all the benefits of the deadlift, but have a whole variety and range of different exercises stemming from easy to medium to hard. So make sure you watch this video all the way to the end because there's going to be a lot of great exercises and alternatives that you can do to help improve your deadlift and maintain all the benefits that the deadlift has to offer. One of the best ways to improve your deadlift is to use a hip hinge pattern. And the reason that this is such an important exercise is because it covers everybody from a beginner to medium to even advanced. Even an advanced person at the deadlift can use this as a mobility trick, a rehab pattern, a new training pattern to really stimulate the best mobility and hips. So at the end of the day, this is a great exercise. Doesn't matter who it is, what level you're at, that this can benefit you. So here, what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to hinge at your hips, not at your spine. So what we're going to do is we're going to place a stick behind our butt, our mid-back, and to our head. We're going to keep all 3 points of contact here, right? It's very important that we don't bend forward. And what we can do here is we can hinge and sit our butt backwards, right? We see my butt is sitting back. And what we're going to do is we're going to load into the back here, and we're going to use all 3 points of contact. And in this case, what we're going to do is learn how to stabilize our spine. And if you do this enough times, you're going to start to feel it within your quads and within your legs, and you're really going to start retraining a high quality hinge pattern. So if you're new, I would highly recommend that you do this as a warm-up or as a primary for a while. If you're advanced, I would highly recommend that you do this over and over to help improve your current squat pattern. But also, if you're somebody who is battling an injury or a rehab process, maybe it's a hip, a knee, or a lower back especially, that you do this a lot and that you really watch your pattern and really improve it overall, because this is a phenomenal and foundational exercise that you need to learn to master before you actually even do a deadlift. One great phenomenal exercise that I really like to do is the isometric deadlift. And the isometric deadlift is basically taking up a weight, whether it is a kettlebell or dumbbell or something heavy, and it is holding that dumbbell into place. And what that's going to do is that's going to have the weight pulled down. So right, this weight is going to pull us down while we're in that hinge position. And what we can do is we can hold this in this position for like 20 seconds. What I also like to do here is I like to take my feet and I like to rip the carpet in half. I like to grip my feet to the ground, and I try to really rip the carpet or the turf into the ground, and I try to rip it apart, and that really activates my glute muscles. From here, I will really hold that hinge pattern and hinge position, and I'm literally going to just stay here and wait for 30 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever you guys can master and hold, but that positioning will hold our quads and our glutes. It will also force our lower back muscles and our core muscles to help pull up against that weight, causing us to really master and engage these muscles to actually start working when it really comes to a heavier weight or heavier deadlift. So if you can learn how to isometrically hold or just hold that position, it's going to really benefit you, and you're really going to feel that this really is a lot harder than it looks. One underutilized and overlooked exercise is the deadlift body weight, right? The body weight deadlift is absolutely important because it really starts to train the pattern. And what happens is that most people move too quickly and too fast through that movement. So when they move too fast and they start doing this, you could see what starts to happen to my low back. It starts to round. And so when it comes time to lift heavy weight, people have a really poor pattern. So what I like to do is, since you're not going to be able to necessarily touch your fingers to the ground so easily because the bar doesn't go that low, why don't we grab a bucket, some dumbbells, some kettlebells, a cone, whatever it needs to be, or even something hot, a bench up high. So we'll come in and we'll just touch this or with our hands, and we're going to come back up, right? And so looking from the side, we're going to load and we're just gonna come back. And you do this enough times, I can guarantee you'll get sore and you'll get strong. So the bodyweight deadlift is something that is extremely overlooked, yet it is extremely effective. The next deadlift exercise is called the Romanian deadlift. And the major difference between a traditional deadlift and a Romanian deadlift, or a lot of the other deadlifts, is that the Romanian deadlift really works the back of the hamstrings. So we can do this with dumbbells, with kettlebells, or even a straight bar. But what we're gonna do is we're going to pick up the dumbbells, or this weight kettlebells here, and what we're going to do is we're gonna have a soft bend into our knee. We're not gonna have them completely locked out and not completely bent the way we normally do here. We're gonna have a slight bend here. And what I like to do is load my butt backwards, and I'm going to have the weight drag down to the front of the knees and down to the shins. The better off that you can drag these weights down to the front of the shins, meaning the further the weight can go straight down, like here, not forward, the better off you'll be. And so if we go forward, it's gonna pull onto our low back. If we go down, it'll really stress our hamstrings. Again, what I really like about this exercise is that it can really challenge our hamstring length and strength here. We can do this with 2 weights. We can do this in like a position like this. We can do this with dumbbells, and we can do this with a straight bar. But the Romanian deadlift, like I said, is a great way to load up the back of the hamstrings and really get those type of firing pattern within the hamstrings, yet maintain a hip hinge position. Another somewhat advanced exercise is called the kickstand or split stand deadlift. And the kickstand or split stance deadlift is super important because it really starts to learn how to drive power off of one leg. And what we can do is we can take a split stance, like a lunge here, and we can do 80, 20, 90, 10, whatever you decide. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna do an 80-20 here. So we're gonna do 80% of our weight on this leg, 20% into this stance here, and we're going to lift the weight up. I like to have the weight where my shoulder or my foot would normally be, and so I can go down and grab that. So 20% here, 80% here. I'm going to lift and I'm gonna push off the ground. I can come all the way up through here, through this zone, and drive this back down, or I can stay here. And if you notice, I'm not rounding my spine. If you are taller and you don't have as much mobility, you can still do this. What you can do in this position is you can come down to here and then come back up and back up, right? You don't necessarily need to go all the way forward, but this is the kickstand deadlift. It is pretty difficult, especially if you start to use a lot more heavy weight. The next exercise is really challenging because it starts to really stress balance and coordination. That is called the single leg deadlift. Now we can do 2 different sub variations off of that. The single leg deadlift is single leg, 100% of our weight is here, not like the kickstand, where we are loading up here and we are pulling off of the ground. It really challenges our balance. And that subdivision that I was just talking about before is we can do a single leg isometric hold. So what we can do is we can do a soft bend in the knee, or we can do it here. Basically, we can just hold that position if possible. And what we want to see here is we don't want to bend this knee forward or like this, because that'll start shifting our weight forward. What we really want to do is keep that leg driven backwards. So I'm going to show you on this leg here. This is the isometric hold. And notice I'm not breaking my spine. And this is how you come up. That is the single leg deadlift. It is fantastic, especially if you're trying to improve foot, ankle, hip, coordination, balance, training. It's a great exercise, even if you're doing the isometric. So single leg deadlift is a fantastic advanced exercise as well. A high quality, often seen exercise that is advanced is the sumo deadlift. The big difference between a traditional deadlift and a sumo deadlift is the hip width and the external rotation of our feet. That really means is that we are going wider here, and instead of us being pointed with our toes going forward, we're pointed maybe a little bit more out. This will work a little bit more of our groin and our adductors, but also because we're wider in our hips and we're actually a little bit lower in our stance, we're actually going to jeopardize our hip mobility and our spine a little bit less. So what we can do from here is simply pick up the weight here, and we come up and back down. You will see this definitely at the gym, and it's a very popular alternative that still really gives the capacity to lift heavy weight and reap some of the benefits of the deadlift. One extremely unique exercise that is very advanced is the horse stance deadlift. The horse stance deadlift is where we go, instead of stepping in front of the bar, we're stepping over the bar. That means one leg goes forward, one leg is back. The leg that is back, I'm going to have my grip facing this way. That's my preferred grip. And the leg that is forward, my hand goes this direction. The reason that this is so great is that what we're trying to do in a traditional deadlift is where the bar is up in front of us and the weight is kind of like under here, underneath our belly. But in this case, we're lining the weight up with our pelvis and the bottom of our body, so we can just pull straight up. So I like to have this leg going forward towards you, and I have like this one doing about 45 degrees. So it's kind of like riding a horse, right? Somewhat. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna lift here and here. And we lift it up right through the groin and back down and up. And what I like to do in this position, because we're doing one leg that maybe might be a little bit more dominant, I will do like 5 on one side and then 5 on the other. But basically, the horse stance deadlift allows us to get over the bar a little bit more, so we don't necessarily have to bend forward as much. My favorite exercise by far when it comes to alternatives to the deadlift is the hex bar deadlift, otherwise known as the trap bar deadlift. The reason I love this so much is because not only do you get a lot of the benefits of the deadlift, but you also reduce a lot of the mobility in the hips. So if you're sore, maybe you're tired, maybe you're not feeling as much mobility, or maybe you're not used to super heavy weight, but you want to actually start to challenge yourself with heavier weight, this is great, because what happens here is like the traditional bar will go like here, but this bar is up about a few inches. So you'll grab here and you won't have to jeopardize the hips or the lower back as much. In addition, if you look at this from the side here, what I like to see is the weight is in line with the handle grip, which is in line with my wrist, elbow, shoulder, and neck. That ensures that I'm not here with the weight, I am here, okay? What I like here is I like to roll my shoulders back, and in the hex bar deadlift, what you like to see is you like to see your butt kind of sit down a little bit more. When you sit down more, you're going to push off the ground and come up. Just like that. What I also like about the hex bar deadlift is that once you come up and you hold this position, if you see my posture, it's really working my hand grip, my shoulder position, my neck position. I'm not really out of a poor alignment, so I'm really in a great alignment, not only for my lower body, but it's a fantastic upper body hold as well. So again, the hex bar deadlift or trap bar deadlift is absolutely my favorite deadlift that helps minimize the risk, but also maximize the power and potential of the deadlift. Hey guys, it's Dr. Josh. I just wanted to say thank you very much for watching this episode all the way through. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, in the comment section below, let us know what kind of deadlift that you do, or if you have any questions about the deadlift. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys soon.